Every Friday, two friends received the exact same paycheck. Their salaries were identical. Their rent was identical. Their bills were identical. They worked the same kind of job, lived in the same kind of apartment complex, and grabbed the same coffee from the same shop on the same corner every single week. If you'd looked at their bank statements side by side on day one, you would not have been able to tell them apart. Pause. But 20 years later, one of them had $214,000 sitting quietly in an account, growing on its own, no longer needing him to work at all. Beat, the other was still waking up to a Monday alarm, dragging himself out of bed for a job he no longer had the energy for. With less than $3,000 saved, same income, same expenses, same city. So what was the difference? Just $100. Every single week. Long pause. This is the story of Leo and Max, and why building wealth in America has almost nothing to do with how much you earn, and everything to do with what you do in the 10 seconds after the money hits your account. Both men grew up in the same kind of household. Not poor, not rich, just comfortable enough that money was talked about occasionally at the dinner table, and then forgotten about until the next bill arrived. Neither of them had been taught how investing actually worked. Nobody sat them down with a whiteboard and explained index funds or compounding. They learned everything they knew about money the way most Americans do, by watching their parents, half listening to coworkers, and scrolling past financial advice online without really absorbing it. So, when they landed their first real jobs at 24, fresh out of the same state university, working entry-level roles that paid almost exactly the same salary, they were, in every meaningful sense, starting from zero. Beat, Leo and Max got their very first paychecks on the same Friday. Both of them were excited. It was real money, finally, and they wanted to feel that freedom. Leo went shopping that weekend. New shoes, a nice coffee, a Netflix subscription, a few Amazon orders that seemed impossible to resist. He felt good. He felt like he'd earned this, and honestly he had. Nobody would call Leo irresponsible. He paid his rent on time, he never missed a bill, he wasn't drowning in credit card debt. He was just a normal 24-year-old, enjoying the first real freedom of his adult life. Max enjoyed his first paycheck, too. He wasn't a monk, and he wasn't secretly disciplined, in some way Leo wasn't. He bought the same coffee, went to the same bars on weekends, even took the same weekend trips Leo did over the years. But before he spent a single dollar on anything fun, he did one thing first. He moved $100 into an investment account. Then, and only then, he spent the rest exactly how he wanted. Pause, that became his rule. Every Friday, before rent, before groceries, before fun, $100 automatically into a simple low-cost index fund tracking the broader U.S. stock market. No stock picking, no timing, no checking financial news every morning. Just an automatic transfer that happened whether he remembered it or not. Whether he was excited about money that week or completely sick of thinking about it. Just paying himself first. Beat Leo teased him about it constantly. Bro, $100 a week isn't gonna make you rich. You know that, right? Max just laughed. I'm not trying to get rich next month. I'm trying to build a habit I never have to think about again. Pause, that line mattered more than either of them realized. Humans are notoriously bad at understanding long stretches of time. We overestimate what can happen in 1 year and wildly underestimate what can happen over 20. That gap is exactly why most people quit right before the magic starts. Long pause, and life, as it always does, started testing both of them. The car broke down. A surprise medical bill showed up. Weddings, plane tickets, a vacation that felt earned after a brutal year at work. Then inflation crept in and made groceries feel like a luxury purchase. Then a market crash wiped a chunk of value off every portfolio in the country overnight. Then COVID flipped the entire economy upside down, closing offices, freezing paychecks, filling every news channel with numbers that only ever seemed to go down. Then a recession followed, with layoffs and fear all over the headlines. The kind of fear that makes even confident people question every financial decision they've ever made. Every time one of these hit, Leo paused his investing. It wasn't dramatic. He didn't cancel the account or make some big statement about it. He'd just quietly skip a transfer here, a transfer there, telling himself it was temporary. "I'll start again once things calm down," he told himself, and he meant it every time. Things did calm down, eventually, until the next surprise expense showed up, and the exact same cycle repeated itself, almost word for word. BeatMax never touched his number. He never bragged about it, never doubled it during a hot streak, never quietly cut it when money got tight. He also never skipped a single Friday. Car repair, medical bill, COVID, recession, in it went, on schedule, like a bill he owed to nobody but himself. There was no willpower speech behind it, no motivational quote taped to his mirror. He'd simply set it up once, years earlier, and let the system run without asking his emotions for permission every single week. Pause. This is the part most people get wrong about investing. They think the secret is finding the perfect stock, or guessing the exact right moment to jump in and out before a crash. Pause, it isn't. The real secret is far less exciting, and it has a name: dollar cost averaging. Investing a fixed amount at regular intervals, no matter what the market is doing that week. When prices are high, your $100 buys fewer shares. When prices crash and everyone else is panicking, that same $100 suddenly buys more shares than it ever has before. Over enough time, this evens out the chaos of the market and removes almost all of the emotional guesswork. You stop trying to be a genius. You just show up. Beat layer compounding on top of that. Your money earning returns. And then those returns earning their own returns. Quietly, invisibly. Year after year. And you get something almost nobody appreciates until they've actually lived through it. Time in the market beats timing the market every single time. For almost everyone who has ever tried the opposite. Pause. When the headlines turned red, Max didn't flinch. Those were actually the weeks his $100 quietly bought the most shares. Pause. Leo felt the fear every time, and pulled back exactly when he should have leaned in. Beat. The math of investing is simple. The psychology is brutal. Managing your own fear turns out to be the real skill, far more than picking winners. For the first year, nothing exciting happened. Year 2 looked the same. Boring. Slow. Leo kept laughing, telling Max he was wasting money he could be enjoying right now. By year 5, the growth was there, but you had to squint to see it, buried under years of ordinary Fridays. Beat then, around year 10, the line on the graph started to bend, not explosive, but undeniable. By year 15, it had clearly steepened, and by year 20, that quiet $100 habit had grown into $214,000. Money that had started, week by week, at nothing at all. Long pause. That's the part about compounding nobody warns you about. It never announces itself. There's no viral moment, no dramatic headline. It just works, silently, in the background, and then one day the results look almost impossible, even though every step that got you there was small and completely unremarkable at the time. Beat 20 years passed. It was, once again, a Friday. Paychecks landed in both accounts, just like that very first day. Leo's disappeared almost instantly into bills, rent, and catching up on the month. The same story it had always been, just with bigger numbers attached to bigger responsibilities. His savings sat at $2,800. Pause. Max's paycheck arrived too, but by now his investment account was quietly earning more in a single year than his salary paid him. Beat Leo looked at him, almost in disbelief. "Were you just lucky?" Max shook his head. "No. I just repeated the same decision every single Friday. For 20 years. Long pause. Here's the part Leo didn't know until that conversation. Beat 3 separate times over those 20 years, Leo had tried to start investing again. Real attempts, not just talk. Each time he'd opened an app, put in $50 or $100, and then pulled it back out within a few months, usually right after a bad week in the market. He wasn't lazy, and he wasn't bad with money in some obvious way. He simply never let a single attempt survive contact with fear. The habit kept dying in its first 90 days, over and over, which meant that in 20 years, Leo had never actually experienced what year 11 through 20 even looks like. Beat. That's the part almost nobody talks about. Most people who fail at investing didn't fail at the math. They failed at year 3, and never found out what year 15 had waiting for them. Long pause. People spend an enormous amount of energy asking which stock is the best one to buy, which ETF is the smartest choice, or exactly when to finally start. Those might not even be the right questions. The real question is simpler and much harder to answer, honestly. Can you start one habit, beginning next Friday, and just keep it going past the point where it feels pointless? Beat. Because wealth is almost never built through one enormous, life-changing decision. It's built through 1,000 small, unremarkable ones, repeated so consistently, they stop feeling like decisions and start feeling like who you are. Long pause. So, here's the only thing I actually want from you today. Comment the number 100 if you're willing to start this Friday. Not next month, not once things calm down. This Friday. I'll be reading every single comment, and I'll reply to as many as I can. Pause. 20 years from now, somebody reading this will have quietly become Max, and somebody else, reading the exact same words on the exact same day, will still be Leo. Not because they earned less, not because they were unlucky, but because of what they did or didn't do in the 10 seconds after this video ends. Beat house or index fund, big salary or small one. None of it ever mattered as much as the one habit Max never broke. The only question left is whether you will. As with any investing content, this is general financial education, not personalized financial advice, and markets can go down as well as up. Anyone considering this approach should think about their own situation or speak with a licensed financial advisor before making decisions.